All right, let me get the video going. Share. Sharing is caring. Oh no, you don't want geometry. You want. Oh no, you don't want geometry. Exactly. Well, I could tell you some stories about dynamite. You do know the irony about dynamite, yes? No, the irony of dynamite is the guy that invented dynamite, his name is Alfred Nobel. The Peace Prize is named after him. He invented dynamite, which killed millions of people, right? Well, it is believed it was guilt I mean, he made lots of money, by the way. And by the way, dynamite wasn't invented to kill people. It was invented to help in construction and mining and things like that. Right? Yeah. But so as the story goes, Alfred Nobel in his older age, after he's made quite a lot of money, decided to present a prize. Back then there was not Norway and Sweden. Sweden, if I remember my geography correctly, there was just Sweden, and then eventually Norway was formed as well too. But he was Swedish, and there's lots of prizes now, except for one. There's no math prize for. There is no Nobel Prize for mathematics, so we feel slighted by Alfred Nobel as mathematicians. Yeah. It's kind of an interesting story. So there's a literature prize for the Nobel Prize. There's there's prizes for physics, for medicine, for chemistry. I don't know them all off the top of my head. Peace was the first one, if I remember correctly. But there is no one for mathematics. Economics gets the Nobel Prize as well too, but there's not one. Yep. Oh, and by the way, if you win the Nobel Prize, you get a lot of money.
Like $1 million?
Over $1 million. So when
$1 trillion?
Not that much. But what happened was he gave all this money, and he goes, keep this money in this big pot, a pot of money, and then every year you will give a certain proportion of it to the winners, plural. So the other thing about the Nobel Prize, you have to be alive. So if you're dead, you don't get one. Even though you may have invented or come up with this really brilliant thing, if you die, you don't get one.
What if you die like during the ceremony or right after it?
Good question. Right. I know that you have to be alive to be nominated and to be awarded. The other thing too is that you're required to give a speech. So what happens is every year, once you win this, then you have to go to Sweden. Also, I believe Norway is the one that gives the Peace Prize, and the other ones are in Sweden. I'm probably messing that up. And then you have to give a speech in front of the king, right?
The king?
Yeah, of Sweden. Right? And the king is the one that presents you with it. There's been lots of people in Colorado that won Nobel Prizes. If you ever want to physically see one, at the University of Colorado in Boulder, you can go onto their campus. They have a small museum there. And one of the guys that won it, I believe he's a physicist. I don't know the guy's name, but there's the actual Nobel Peace Prize. Or the Nobel, not Peace Prize, but the Nobel Prize for, I want to say it's physics. All right, those are a lot of questions. Jake.
Just about the dynamite thing. I heard a story once about like this guy who, a long time ago, used dynamite and a piece of debris went through his skull and he went through the back of his head, and he just kind of kept going on with his day. So someone said, "You should go to the hospital for that."
Yeah, we have some weird stories like that. Interesting. This is random, and we got to do some math right to this. A random thing is that dynamite is actually something called nitroglycerin, which is an explosive. And if you think about it's a plot of a lot of Western movies. Before dynamite was invented, it was a liquid. And this liquid is very shock sensitive. Literally, if you took it and you held the vial of it in your hand and you shook it, it would explode. So you had to be very, very, very careful with it. Well, it was so shock sensitive that people didn't want to use it because there were just too many accidents. what Alfred Nobel, his genius, if you want to call it genius, was he came a way of encapsulating nitroglycerin inside of I want to say it's a type of dirt, or maybe it was sawdust or something like that. He was able to impregnate that material, nitroglycerin, into the material, and it made it stable so that you could move it around. If you, I mean, I used dynamite plenty of times in the military, but you could take a stick of dynamite and you could run, jump, around with it, carry it in your pocket, and it wouldn't blow up, that sort of thing. But nitroglycerin will easily blow up.
Wait, what happened if you like just light it?
You don't light it. It's not lit. It's not like in the movies.
What would happen if it blew up like in a plane or falling out of a plane?
Then you would probably not live through that experience, right? But all military explosives are such that you literally bullets can go through it and it won't explode type thing. So, unlike in the movies. All right, that was enough off-topic stuff. Let's go to homework. All right, homework's out. One quick note about the homework. Homework involved doing something called estimation. All right, so here's the deal about grading this, right? I'm going to have to individually grade your homework. Why? Because if you didn't round it to what I rounded it to, for instance, 12.5, I believe that was one of the things that you're either multiplying, dividing, or adding with. 12.5. Well, there's a couple options there. We could round that to, we could also round that to, well, no, not to 12. We can also round that to 10. Hey, if I round to the nearest tens place, that rounds to 10. If I round that to the nearest ones place, it's 13. So there's two possible answers just for rounding 12.5. Oh, but you had two numbers. One of the numbers was 1,750. I believe this is question number 3, right? Well, what did you round that to? What did you guys round that to? Some people didn't even round it. Other people rounded that to 2,000. Other people rounded it to 1,800. Okay, there's 3 possible answers there, and that's just that one number. You combine these two numbers and the fact that there's lots of different ways to estimate. We got a whole bunch of, and I don't, on this homework, I never call it answers because I'll have 40 kids say, wait, I got this, is that right? So I will grade this homework. However, any specific questions about any one of the individual questions, I'll entertain. All right. Let's take a look at number 3. I believe those are the numbers right there for 3. All right. Page 94. All right. Number 3 says the following. An airplane flew, I told you these were the numbers, 1,750 kilometers in 4.5 hours. Those were literally the numbers I just put on the board.
You said 12.
So 1,750, all right, no drinks unless it's got a lid on it. And then we got this 4.5. It says, what is the speed? Now, I know you guys are in 7th grade, but everyone that asked me for help for this, I said, well, give an example of speed. And every person said, I don't know, something to the effect of 30 miles per hour. Okay, this is not the problem. This is a speed question. 30 miles per hour. Miles per hour. I'm going to write M-P-H. Miles is a measurement of what? Distance. Hours is a measurement of
Time.
So the only question is, what does PER mean? Miles per hour.
Oh, how many times the miles going to
Literally, what is per? PER. It's a math symbol. It's division. Miles per hour. Take the distance and divide it by the,
time.
okay, which one was the distance? Which one was the time? Well, that's how it's done mathematically. The question is, they wanted you to estimate. So now we're back to, well, what numbers do you want to use? Okay. If we go the most extreme rounding that there is, well, I'm going to round that to 2,000. Well, I'm going to round that to 5. So that's 2,000 divided by 5. That's one answer. Yet I had other people, Gavin said that he didn't even round this. Gavin, did you round the 4.5? Oh, he didn't even do that. All right, Gavin. Why did I say Gavin?
Gavin's in the same grade.
All right, back up here, please. So, point being is that I'm not going to go progress anything further than saying you take your distance and you divide it by your time. And then depending upon what you round it to, some people might have rounded the answer after you do the division. There's lots of possible answers. That's number 3. What was the other one? What was the other one? Someone asked a question. What was the other one? Yes. And then somebody said, can we also go over number?
6.
Okay, thank you for paying attention. All right, number 6. It looks like it's complicated. It's not. It says you're building something. You got bricks and adhesive. It's blue. Right. So it says you got bricks and adhesive. Well, you're told how much the bricks cost. You're told how much the adhesive costs. Then you're also told how many of each you bought. Okay, if I tell you buy 5 things and it costs $1 a piece, how much did you just spend? Well, what did you do mathematically? You did not add. You multiplied. So guess what you got to do with this problem? So you find out how much. I'm going to draw a picture here of a circle. We'll call this bricks, and then ADH, right? Adhesives. Well, figure out how much the bricks cost, figure out the adhesive cost, and then do what? What do we do with those 2 numbers then? Okay. And then now you know how much you're spending. That is question A. It says, how much do you spend? Question B says, do you have enough money? What do you mean? Do you have enough money? Because one of the statements in there says that you got $300. So the question is, does the bricks plus the adhesive finish the sentence? Cost. Listen to what I'm saying. It says you have $300 to spend. That's how much money. Then you're given prices for everything. Question B says, do you have enough money? So what do?
You subtract.
I don't do any subtraction. What do you mean by compare? You guys ever go to the store and buy something? How do you know you have enough money?
You use fake calculator.
So if you go into a car store and you bring hundreds of dollars, guess what you walk out with? Nothing.
Yeah, you
How do you know you have enough money?
You take the money that you have and then subtract it by how much you
Why would you need to subtract?
Because that's how much you're gonna
I have $100 in my pocket. Something costs $95. Do you have enough money? Did you do subtraction? No. Why do you think you need to do subtraction? You have $100 in your pocket. The thing costs $120. Are you buying it?
No.
Did you do subtraction? No. Hey, I got bricks and I got adhesives. You got $300. How are you going to figure out if you got enough money? We're not doing any subtraction. I got to figure out, now I'm putting a box around the 2 circles, how much that costs. Give me a number. It costs $45. You got enough money?
Yes.
Did you do subtraction? Absolutely not. Whose question was this, by the way? Do you understand? Well, there's a part C. Now maybe we get to subtraction. Part C says, well, the answer to part B is yes, you have enough money. So in other words, you must, when you add the 2 numbers together, get a number that's what? Smaller than 300. So now the question says, can you take your money that you didn't spend on the bricks and adhesive and buy a rug? Well, that's what part C tells you. Right?
174.
So now you're going to do subtraction because it doesn't say how much the rug costs. It says how much can you spend on the rug. So if this costs $45 and you got $300 in your pocket, how much can you spend on a rug? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Not what the answer is. What are you going to do? I'm going to subtract, and that's the whole problem right there. Okay? Was this an easy or a hard homework assignment?
Easy.
I would absolutely say it's medium, right? Oh, by the way, a whole bunch of people in this class and the other class couldn't do number 6. Yes. Which one? Number 8 says the following. It says you drove a certain distance in miles. You used 40 gallons of gas. It says how many miles to the gallon did it car get? Now, this does require you to understand how efficiencies of cars are written. Efficiencies of cars, if you ever go buy a new car, unless it's electric, right, are measured in miles per gallon. I'm going to write that down. Miles per gallon, MPG. Literally, it's called the MPG. We already said, what does per stand for?
Division.
Okay, M stands for miles, G stands for gallons. This equals a number. I don't know what the number is, but we'll find out. Well, let's see what part 8 says. Part 8 says you drove 1,256.8 miles. Where would that go in our formula? Where would miles go?
Outside.
Where? Which thing says miles? So that would be my, somebody got to give me the number. What is the number?
300.
It's not. Somebody give me the number from the question.
1,000.
It's not 36. What is it?
1,200.
I believe it's 0.8. Per means what?
Division.
What's left of the problem?
40 gallons.
40 gallons. Take a wild guess of where that needs to go.
Probably under 200.
Well, what does G stand for?
Gallons.
So guess where the 40 goes? You tell me, do you have enough information there to solve that? Okay, well, that's how that's done. Now, clearly they want you to round. Okay, that's an ugly number. Maybe you use 1,300. Maybe you use 1,000. That would be a horrible rounding, right? But it is correct rounding. If you're Devin, he's using the exact numbers, right? But the whole purpose of this was to be able to come up with a quick answer to this thing. So I probably would use 1,300, and that would give me a rough estimate. Using 1,000, although that's correct rounding to the thousands place, that's pretty darn far off than 1,000 to 1,200, right? But if I use 1,300, then I'm only off by what, 43 miles or something like that. Okay, did I answer your question, Sarai? Yes. Number 7, there's lots of words there. It basically says you get 3.5 miles less per gallon than the previous thing. You're given the previous thing. What's the previous thing?
36.
Says you get 36. You turn the air conditioner on, you get 3.5 miles less. Tell me what we need to do. What does less mean?
Subtraction.
It means less means subtraction. Right? So it's just a subtraction problem. Right? That's the start of it. There's a bit more there.
Yeah, there's
Right. And then it says you go 312 miles, getting 3.2, or getting 32, if you round it to 4. All right. All right. So we're going to collect this, and then we're going to talk about tests. So somebody grab the empty basket over there, collect the homework. And then I didn't say to start talking. You guys got to listen. All right. So the test is tomorrow. Let's talk about this real briefly. We'll start with Madison. Give me one thing that will be on the test. Dividing decimals. All right, what do I got? Easy, medium, or hard? Where are we at? All right. For those of you that say that is hard and challenging, guess what you should have on your resource card? You should have a how to do it. Remember, on all tests and quizzes that I give, you don't know this, is new for you, right? I allow you to bring in a piece of paper with anything you want written on it. And remember what I told you. I said that you get a B or A counts. If not, I'm not talking to one person here. You get a B or A counts. If not, then we'll start next chapter. Make sense? Okay. But for the rest of you, you already have taken 3 tests. Is this chapter 3 or 4? Chapter
3.
You've taken 2 tests and 2 quizzes from me. You know how I do this. If decimal long division is your, oh my word, I'm going to get it wrong. I'm going to give you 3 of them, by the way. You need to have something written on a piece of paper that tells you what to do. Okay. If your problem with decimal long division, Casey, right, is that sometimes you do the multiplication wrong, guess what you also need in front of your face?
Multiplication.
You need a multiplication table in front of your face. I'm not going to print off a multiplication table for anyone. I've already done that too many times. You may bring a piece of paper with anything you want written on it and a multiplication table. Okay? That goes for everyone in the class, not just, the people that are weak on those skills. Macy's good on that. She just gets kind of lost in the details sometimes on decimal long division. So Macy, I'm going to highly suggest you take one of the example, or maybe 2 or all 3 of them, and you write it out in big letters. A third, I'll make it just for this one test. If you want a piece of graph paper to do the work on, I did it stapled to the test thing. You may have that as well too. I'm not going to give you a piece of graph paper. You got to bring it in yourself. Okay? Good job, Madison. There's one thing. So I give you another thing that's going to be on the test. Multiplying decimals. I didn't have a single person, right? Well, almost. I didn't have a single person come up to me and say, I struggle at this. I have plenty of people say I struggle at the division one. So once again, for me, keeping things nice, neat, and orderly, I'm going to do it on a piece of graph paper. Okay, I need that stapled so that I can check your work and give you partial credit in case you make a silly mistake. But if you need those steps written out for decimal multiplication, please do that. All right, who's next? Antonio, give me something else that's going to be on the test. Rounding is going to be on the test, right? Do we know how to round? Do we know how to estimate? All right. So if that's your weakness, then that needs to be on your resource card. Okay. If rounding is your thing, then clearly you don't need that on your resource card. So we got decimal division, decimal multiplication. We got rounding. What else? Go. There will be one word problem. I'm not going to give you an example of it. It just is what it is. What do you got? Do what? We did. That was the first thing. All right. What do we got? Adding, subtracting. We're up to 5 things. Adding, subtracting decimals. Occasionally what happens is that when I do each one separately, remember we did adding, subtracting one day, then we moved to multiplication, we did division. Because moving the decimal place changes depending upon whether you're adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing. Right? I absolutely positively, for those of you that's not perfectly clear in your mind, write it on the resource card. Hey, we don't move the decimal place when we add and subtract. We drop it straight down. Hey, we move the decimal place when we multiply as the last step. Hey, we move the decimal place in division as basically it's the first step. 3 different rules for moving a decimal place, depending on whether you're add, subtract, or multiply or divide. All right, we're up to 5 things. What else? Now we got to think about this. I can think about at least 2 other things we did. We did 3 other things, but I'm only going to 2 other things I'm going to put on the test. Yeah. Exponents. Thank you. We haven't talked about exponents in a while. So let's review exponents. Give me a number with an exponent.
10.
10 to the 3rd power. Thank you. Popular choice. All right. The big number is called the small number is called
Exponent. Exponent.
or power, right? Exponent or power. Jake, on the board. All right. What do I do if I want to simplify this, Jake?
10 times 10 times 10.
We write the base how many times? We do not do 10 times 3. Is everyone listening?
Yes.
So that I can so that I can correct your, no, I won't make fun of you. But every year I see this. I don't have anyone that says, Mr. C, I still don't get it. What are you saying? Isn't it the bottom number times the top number? Yet someone will make that mistake. Do not be that person. No, I won't make fun of you. But I'm certainly going to point it out to you and ask you, were you not listening? Is anyone not listening right now? So how many times do I write 10?
3 times.
So no one's going to say the answer is
30.
because it's not 30. It's 10 written 3 times with what in between?
Decimal.
not decimals,
Little dot.
multiplication symbols. 10 times 10 is 100, times 10 is 1,000. This is what will be on the test. Okay? Do I need to put another example or you got it? We did do scientific notation, none of that on the test. That's it, right there. Right? It won't be 10 to the third, but it'll be something like that. I gave you, I think, 3 examples to play around with for the, and one of them is 10 to the third. Thank you, Madison. All right. One other thing that will be on the test. What? Yeah, I could put that, but I'm going to choose, instead of doing comparing decimals, instead of putting greater than or equal to, I'm going to have you go from least to greatest.
What? No.
Okay? Remember that on the quiz and on the homework, least to
The one
greatest?
I always fail on.
And I'm going to put the numbers that are really close to each other. Like I'll put nothing but 2s, and I'll be moving the decimal place around, or 0s and 2s, or something like that. Be ready for that. It's least to greatest. I'm not going to trick you and go greatest to least. Least to greatest. Compare each first numbers from left to right, right, and then move down the line. Please don't mess this up. This is like giving you points, right? You should be able to do this. There's nothing involved. This is to make up for the 3 long division decimal problems that probably some of you will have challenges on. Hey, it's going to be about 19 or 20 problems. 3 of them will be decimal long division. If I give you 20 problems and you miss 3 of them, are you passing the test? Who's got a calculator?
That's
If you miss 3, guess how many you got right? So what's 17 divided by 20 as a percent? He's doing it. Yes.
an 85%.
Thank you, Madison. What is it?
85%.
So did you pass the test?
Yes.
So I'm not saying, hey, blow off the decimal long division. I'm just saying for some people that might be worried that you can get a B if you get all the rest of the stuff right. No, don't blow off the decimal long division. But I also don't want you, I'm never going to pass this test because I still don't get the decimal long division. Well, you're probably not going to get an A. But you can certainly pass the test. All right. Any questions on anything that's going to be on the test? Okay, we have about 20 minutes. You can all take this test. It's not the test, it's the practice test. You can all take this test in about 20 minutes. As always, when I give you a practice test, I also give you the answers. Make sure you're checking your answers. As you're doing this, you should be making your resource card, right? Why are you not clicking? Listen, please. As you're doing this, right, you should be doing the following, right? 1, you're working by yourself and you are working. I do not define working as sitting there waiting for the bell to ring. You're actively working. You're going to be working by yourself, not silently, but quietly, so that you can take the test tomorrow by yourself, silently, right? If you need any help, certainly ask for it. I would only study the things that you get wrong. You don't need to study the things you get right. And then to remember, if you're done the whole thing, start making a resource card. All right, Nelius is going to hand this out, and the rest of you are going to get started. All right, no calculators. Not even to check your work because I'm giving you the answers, right? And you need to do this tomorrow by hand, okay? You certainly can have a multiplication table, but no, I'm not going to print one out for you.
You know what? I'm going to the library just for fun.
You can do it online, you know.
Well, I don't know how to print stuff. I don't know how to print it.
Well, maybe that's a skill. It's a useful skill to learn how to do. Just don't print 40 things because then your parents get mad because you're using all the ink.
Oh, I printed a picture of. I thought you just said you didn't know how to print. Sticking on my wall.
No using logic in my class, mister. Good one.
She said she lives on a ranch,
I know.
and then she said she needed her barn doors on her house.
Yes. Yes, you may. All right. Any questions on what we're doing for the rest of the class?
Maybe.
As,
No.
What's the date?
today's the 30th of September. 30th
Tomorrow's
of
the
September.
first. Really?
Yesterday was my anniversary. That's the only reason I remember.
My birthday's
Happy
I'm married for 29 years.
My mom's been married to my dad for 15 years. My mom's had 3 husbands.
I'm not sure how I should respond to that statement. So I will not touch it.
People some extras, and I didn't know that.
Say again.
I think I gave some people extras.
Does anybody have an extra test?
No, but I just have a question.
All right, maybe I didn't print off enough. Okay.
Some felt heavier than others, so I think.
Check your test to see if you got a duplicate because I did print out enough tests. Check to see if you have extras.
Look, maybe I'm next.
Different David. Different David.
Oh.
All right. Eleanor, I'm going to stop the video unless you have any specific questions.
I don't have any.
Hi.
Hello, Ben. All right. Okay. Test tomorrow. I will make it live at 10:30 tomorrow for you, Eleanor.
Okay.
Okay. See you tomorrow. Or I won't see you tomorrow. Take the test.
Or yeah. Bye.
Yeah.